All right, everyone, welcome to the Mangalorian, the series where we go back and restudy, re examine, and talk about the original 42 volumes of the Dragon Ball manga. And today we have gotten into volume 25, starting with chapter 294. Now all of Frieza's men have been vanquished, all of the important ones that fight. It's now up to Frieza himself. So we've reached the final boss battle, but in Shonen or in Toriyama, I guess you could say style, it's not going to be that easy. And so really today is where we begin the actual confrontation with Frieza himself. And one of the things I want to take note of, Jordan, right off the hop, is if you watch the anime versus the manga or Z versus Kai, I had a long time ago somebody asked me, they go, so do you prefer Z or Kai? And I said Z because, Z is a lot of it was nostalgia, but there's other reasons. However, for this part of the series, I think the pacing of Kai is better because the Frieza Saga anime wise really drags. And today when we go into this chapter or this volume with these chapters in it, it goes by pretty quickly and it's easy to read.
Yeah, and people's attention spans have just got shorter and shorter and shorter. So yeah, Kai is definitely more appropriate for today's generation for sure.
I mean, hell, even a few years ago, I mentioned for the Frieza saga specifically Kai, because there really is a lot of pointless filler compared to like the Saiyan saga, where that filler I thought was good development for the characters.
Well,
So
imagine what we went through in comparison to the people who watch Kai. Like we had to like not only watch the like extended version of that all of those events, but also we were waiting for it on TV, right? Whereas like Kai, it's a similar thing. It did come off on TV, but the Frieza saga was very popular at that time. It wasn't that hard to go find out what happened, even if you wanted to go watch bits and pieces of the original series, the original cut. You could do that, but back then, not only did we have those horrid pacing issues, but we also had to wait like every week. It was wild.
well, when Z was being aired on Toonami specifically, it was Monday through Friday, right? But there were so many episodes that
Yeah,
in order to finish the Frieza saga, it was like September to December. It was like freaking a third of the year. So
yeah.
I'm just saying that I want to take note of the pacing of the manga. So let's go ahead and get started. Chapter 294. We left off with the wishes being made to Porunga on Namek. Piccolo has been wished to Namek because he requested to come back to life and go to Namek. Now, the whole thing with Piccolo going to Namek, I thought about this today because I knew we were going to do this stream. And I talked to Nassim about this too. It feels like Piccolo is going to the demon realm. It feels like Piccolo's going to the demon realm. Yes, I know the light in my room is twitching, bro. I'm aware of it. I can't do anything about that
Yeah,
right
I'm
now. I'm not
using
going to
my
stop the
psychic
stream.
powers to make his light go off and on.
Your
Mess
magic
with
from the demon realm, bro.
it. Yeah.
But I think Piccolo going to the demon realm in Daima is probably going to be something to do with him learning about Namekian like
Yeah.
lore and stuff like that. We
I've
got a
been
little
talking
bit of
about
that
that
already.
for a long time because Toriyama was already flirting with that stuff in Dragon Ball Superhero. And to be honest with you, I do find a lot of the Namekian stuff in Daima as just like a reminder of the type of stuff that was talked about in the original Dragon Ball by Kami. Whenever Neva talks about how the Dragon Balls were a reward for whoever and how they people used it for selfishness and all this stuff, that's literally verbatim the exact same thing that Kami said back in the original series, as well as what's communicated here on Namek. So it really does kind of feel like they're really just trying to reintroduce and freshen people's minds to those older concepts because it has been years and they don't talk about that stuff like super blatantly and super until recently with the the stuff in the granola arc and Piccolo using the wish to get more powerful in Dragon Ball Superhero. So I do think that they're probably just trying to remind people of the themes, especially the new people, because there are fans who are starting with Daima, believe it or not.
Oh,
So
I know. A lot of little kids too. My
yeah,
friends' kids have been talking about it. Yeah. Well, I'm saying what I was going to ask you actually was Piccolo doesn't really, and this is, I'm trying to make this make sense to people. Piccolo doesn't really need to be on Namek for this story to continue, but I feel like the reason why Toriyama wrote it this way is
give him
because
pride in
a
his species. Yeah, it's to
well,
give him
I
more
was
pride.
saying Well, I was saying also because Piccolo is one of Toriyama's favorite characters, and I think with Piccolo and Gohan's relationship and what we saw already building up to this, right? I feel like that's why he wrote him here, but also
Mhm.
he got a power boost, so we're going to talk about that.
Well,
So,
think about it. Think about it this way: Goku was raised on Earth, and he had the exact opposite experience as Piccolo, and turned out the exact opposite way. Yet here on Namek, they encourage people to be more like Goku than they do Piccolo, right? So this is kind of like a way of introducing Piccolo to the notion that he's not necessarily an evil entity completely. His entire race has the potential to be something more similar to Goku, and he's seeing that firsthand. So you could count this as like part of Piccolo's character development in that sense too, because he's being introduced to his culture and basically seeing firsthand that he as a being is not what he originally thought, right? So
and I actually think, and I think you have to go back. And one of the things that we talk about on this series that you and I do is context is king. I think a lot of people have seen Dragon Ball Z so many times, myself included, that you know the story so well, but you forget about context. When we got to the Frieza saga, right here where we're at, where Piccolo just got brought back to life, the Gohan Piccolo relationship is still developing. Piccolo sacrificed himself in the last arc, yes, and that was the big turning point for the character. This story continues Piccolo sort of, to use a wrestling term, babyface turn. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I think people forget that they were still developing Piccolo and Gohan's story at this point in the series. It wasn't like the development was over, because now Piccolo is not just fighting, because at this point, he's not just fighting for the survival of the Earth like he did against Nappa and Vegeta in the previous arc.
right.
Now it's that martial artist inside of him, because he's like Gohan, wish me to Namek. Like he wants to fight Frieza himself, much like Goku.
Yeah.
So they have one wish left. But right before they make the wish, Porunga vanishes and the balls become regular balls. I love this panel of Vegeta's face right here, because he's having a damn near meltdown. This close to immortality, this close. And
And it is kind of wild that he didn't just kill them all there, but it's a good thing that he doesn't, because he knows he's going to need these allies against Frieza, right? But
I actually, go ahead.
but I do think it's insane that like Vegeta has the self control to just like acknowledge and remember the fact that Frieza is still coming, and he's going to need help. So he really is in like an awkward position in that way, because normally Vegeta would be the type to be like, no, you guys have disrespected me by robbing me of this wish. I would just like, you guys are all dead. Like that's normally how he would be. But because of the pressure of Frieza being around, he's having to keep himself in check and think about things a bit more tactically.
Right, and and I like that. And now it's like literally that Vegeta, now Frieza is here, and I actually love how we go from, we see the Grand Elder die because he's depressed over his children being killed, and Vegeta freaks out. Then all of a sudden he's like, "Wait a minute!" And then Frieza, and that's a beautiful shot
Yeah.
right there,
Even
because
though it's not
that's
the introduction panel, even though it's not like the establishing shot that we're introduced to for Frieza, it could work as an amazing establishing shot. Like if we didn't know anything about Frieza at this point, like we hadn't actually seen him, this would be a really well done establishing shot to like introduce you to the character.
Yeah, well, it's the reason why it still works as an establishing shot is because this is the first time that Gohan and Krillin have seen him this up close. Like
Right.
they saw him before, but now it's like, okay, he's here, let's go. And he's not happy.
No.
Now you've done it, all of you. You've shattered my dreams of immortality. I'm not picking up a reading on any of the Ginyu Force. Have you killed them? Sadly, I'm afraid this won't do. Are you ready to pay the price? Having the Dragon Balls turn to stone at the very last moment, that's quite a shame for Vegeta, but even more so for myself. It almost looks like he's smirking because, like, he's almost clowning them, but that is not what's going on. He's almost like laughing at, okay, I haven't been in a fight in a
He's
while.
delirious, is what he is. He's so sometimes people feel a range and a mix of emotions, and one of the things that we as humans falter to when we feel a huge mix of emotions at the same time is becoming delirious. We start laughing, we start smiling, we start basically having like an emotional and mental breakdown, and you can kind of see that that's what's happening here with Frieza, and he's about to he's about to break that illusion of him being this like polite, calm and collected figure for the first real time. Like he's gotten angry before, but this is the first time that he gets so angry that it's like, whoa, this is really who Frieza is, right?
And I love how you see him come down from that little hill slowly, and then we have the shot of them freaking out, and he says, "Never before have I been so disrespected." Like he's very, very upset, maybe more than he ever has been. And they're not just dealing with Frieza; they're dealing with an angry Frieza. I mean, there he is. He's, I'll kill you and savor every second of it. I love that shot because the reason why I like this shot is because Toriyama, with this one panel, manages to capture Frieza's insanity and anger while also capturing how goofy he looks as a character. Once again, I want to reiterate what I've been talking about now for, at this point, almost 10 years. Dragon Ball is not meant to be taken seriously. Yes, there are dark parts. No one's denying that. But even when things get dark, I mean, look at this guy, bro. He's a little pink demon thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like the most intimidating version of Frieza. We're gonna get there later in this volume, but it's so like I'll kill you and savor every second, like what Heish would do when he does his Frieza. Like
Yeah, it's
this,
wacky Japanese entertainment at its heart. You know, very similar
yeah.
to like Sentai and stuff like that. It's it's wacky Japanese entertainment. Now the thing is like that type of entertainment can have serious elements, and it's not necessarily that they don't want you to take the serious elements seriously at all. It's just at the end of the day, it's entertainment, right? That's the whole point.
Yes. I need to go into, there was a, okay, I want to address a couple of chat questions before we keep going here. Jared Punch, and I'm going to get to the super chats. He says, after seeing OG Dragon Ball, I can understand the hate for Dragon Ball Super. Something similar happened to me, but not in the same way. I had already seen original Dragon Ball multiple times. It's when you see Super and then you go back and watch any of the old stuff, including Z. It's kind of like when there was a time period where pro wrestling really sucked, and I went back to watch 80s and 90s wrestling, and it pissed me off because of how good it was. That's to me like when I see original Dragon Ball and Z, right? Just the original story, it reminds me of all the mistakes that Super made because it never really hit those heights. It came close a couple times, but it never hit those heights. And that's what happens is you almost remember how things used to be, and you're like, damn, like this is what I fell in love with, you know?
Yeah, and I think Super as a product is what disappoints people. I've tried to like make my stance on that clear multiple times. I think that Toriyama's passion and work and his script writing at that time does not match the effort or the tone of the modern era. A lot of the reason that Super gets a bad rap is it's clearly very heavily influenced by Japanese pop culture in a way that Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball were not. You can literally see like the poppy more lighthearted aspects of Dragon Ball Super and how that matches modern Japanese entertainment coming through, like the anime and even the manga at some points. But I think that more so, it's a similar case to GT. The passion that goes into the production doesn't always match the passion that goes into the actual story itself. And that's why like I said, I've been an avid fan of Super, but I do understand what they mean when they say that they're disappointed by it. Because, like, for example, if I was going straight from this portion of the manga or this portion of the anime to the first episode of Dragon Ball Super, and the tone change and the way that it's directed is so unbelievably different that it's almost like an entirely different show. You've got like these high stakes.
Well, it is a different show.
Well, what I mean by that
but I
is,
know what you mean. Yeah, different franchise.
Well, the high stakes battle action aspects of Dragon Ball are kind of thrown to the side very early in Super. Literally, the first episode is about Trunks and Goten trying to get water for Videl for her face. And that is like a huge tone shift and a huge change for somebody who is a fan of the series due to these types of things, right? So, you know, like,
well, that's another reason why Daima, I don't think, capture people's imaginations, because I've talked about this a billion times at this point. I don't want to go too deep into it, but you have two different types of fans. You have the ones that got into Dragon Ball, mostly Z, and their version of Dragon Ball is the Frieza Saga, the Cell Saga, the Saiyan Saga, all the dark shit, and they love it. And there's nothing wrong with loving it.
No,
then you've got the ones that got deeper into the series and they got into other Toriyama works. So when they see Daima, they don't just see Dragon Ball. They see Dr. Slump. They see Dragon Quest. I talk about it literally every week. And I think people who went the extra mile to learn about Toriyama's other works get much more from Daima than people who didn't.
That's so true.
And I'm not saying that one is better than the other. That's not what that's kind of a point that I made a long time ago, and it doesn't really work anymore. My goal here with this channel is to get people to actually become more hardcore fans, and not everyone's going to switch over, but that's okay. That is all right. Now, my guy in the chat was asking.
Well, I was just going to say, they have mentioned that Daima was intended for new viewers, and they have also mentioned that it was intended for the oldest of viewers.
Yes.
So, you know, that kind of gives you an idea of what
it can actually be targeted towards both because of how, like, the pacing is and how the story's being told. Magan was asking about, like, immortality and it not working, but the question was answered right here. This is a question I answered all the way back when Super was airing, which is, if he's immortal, how did he get destroyed? He didn't get destroyed in the way you think. Zeno nuked the entire universe, and that's what happened. But again, I don't want to answer too many Super questions because that's not what we're talking about here. Right. But I do ask this one, or address this one. He says, do you agree that there's flanderization in Super? I don't think I know what that word means.
Flanderized means that the characterization has become a stereotype, and they just repeat the stereotype rather than actually expanding or correctly expanding on or correctly interpreting the character. Now, I think that
I think in some cases the answer is yes.
Toei as a whole, the company of Toei, even back in the Dragon Ball Z era or even the Dragon Ball era, is infamous for sometimes flanderizing Goku because they're not Toriyama. They don't have the same thought process or the same context behind Goku's character as Akira Toriyama himself, right? So, of course, they're going to make Goku seem more stereotypical or seem more flanderized. And I do think that happens throughout all the series. I don't think that happens just in Super, but I do think, particularly in the case of Super, people mix up Goku's characterization in Z with Super and get confused by it because all of Z, Goku is either dead or
he's out a lot,
or he is in such a horrible situation that he has to be serious all the time. Whereas in Super, that is not the case at all. Super is way more martial arts oriented. It's way more about Goku being a sportsman than it is him constantly fighting for his life. And I do think people in some cases mistake that for flanderization. Not that it doesn't exist, but I do think that some people mistake that and make that mistake.
I also think it's not just Toei. The manga, like what happened to Goku in the Moro and Granola arcs, to me is somewhat Flanderization when it comes to his powers. And I've talked about this forever, bro. The constant, oh, you didn't really master UI. There's more to it, where you can tell that Toriyama and Toyotaro wrote themselves into a corner. So that, yeah, I guess there is some. Now I did want to address, we have a few more here, but there was something that I wanted to correct. He says GT was rushed, Super had 10 plus years. You're actually wrong about that, bro. You're actually got it backwards. GT had 6 months of prep time, Super had 3. You, by this comment, and I know you don't really think this, you're making it seem like Super was planned out 10 years ahead of time, and that's not true. Nope. Super didn't even get commissioned until 3 months before it aired.
And let's just say hypothetically, Toriyama had been working on a bunch of content during those 10 years that he wanted to implement in Super. Just hypothetically, like during his break, like he came up with some ideas. That does not mean that the production is going to meet that passion. That, like, the production is completely based on whether or not something gets approved within a corporate setting. Okay, so you're not thinking about it within the context of a corporate setting. Dragon Ball only came back because Battle of Gods made Toriyama upset, and he came and he changed the script, and he was like, okay, I'll get a little bit more involved. Before that, there was no hope that Toriyama was going to get super involved with Dragon Ball. Again, no pun intended. So when they started to get, like, you know, a bit more of the notion that they could get Toriyama involved, which was, like Danny said, like not that much time prior to when it was approved, that's the reason that Super was overall rushed, because it's like, okay, we've got Toriyama back, so now we can do stuff. It's not as simple as you're making it out to be at all.
And with Daima, we know for a fact that the commission was 2022, because I've got the Toei Animation Handbook for Daima, and it says Magic 2022. But what do I know? All right, now this question right here, I'm not going to lie, it's a little irritating, and I'm going to explain why. He says, can you please send me the link for this version of DB manga that you're using here? Okay, well, first of all, I said back in the earlier streams, if you want this version of the manga, to email me. Second of all, sending this super chat, while I appreciate your donation, how am I going to send you the manga? YouTube does not let you DM people anymore. YouTube disabled the DM feature almost 10 years ago. There is absolutely no way for me to send you this manga. I don't know who you are. I don't know how to find you. There's just no way. Like, this is something you should have emailed instead of asking me in the live stream. You know, like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not upset about it, but how am I going to send it to you? You need to email me, bro. That's the only way. Justin says, Frieza, he's angry. He's an angry elf. Well, in this form, he definitely is. But we're going to talk about more of the different forms. So at this point, Vegeta is almost game to fight him. He's like, fuck it, let's go. Now, again, now we're seeing Frieza's power up. I think it looks great. Again, Toriyama's art does not miss. No matter where do we find his email? Dude, if you can't figure out where my email is at, homie, I'm not going to stop the stream and teach you how to find a YouTuber's email, bro. I'm sorry, but I can't hold your hand on everything, bro. Like, you know what? Oh, no. Where's your email? I'm not going to stop the stream to tell you where to find my email, bro. The same place every content creator has their email. So it's just, I don't have time. Jordan has to go also. So at this point, Vegeta's like, okay, I'm a little worried. He's sweating a little bit, but he's not quite there. Now, in the meantime, there we go. Piccolo has run into Nail, and this ends up being something that would, of course, like, be a big plot point. Nail's already been defeated. Piccolo realizes they look alike. Obviously, they're distant relatives. Chapter
they're
25.
Almost like twins, for real. I don't think anybody else looks as similar to Piccolo as Nail.
I don't know anybody else who does either.
Yeah.
And at this point, what happens is,
you know, wouldn't that be wild if he was related to Katats and we just never find out till like way later?
I wouldn't be surprised, bro, because again, distant cousins. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that there's truth to that. Now, this introduces the idea of what's called Namek Gatai, which means Namekian merging. Now, is it a form of fusion? Yes and no. I purposely, when I made my technique guide on Namekian fusion, I called it Namekian fusion, but it's actually not fusion. It's merging. Yeah, which assimilation too. It's almost the same thing, but it's not because of the way it works. And this is definitely magic based. So now Nail is like, fuck it, let me go inside you, pause, and we're gonna get a power up. And so it's not quite a super Namekian. They call it assimilation. What does that mean? Bro, am I gonna tell you about how to use Google? Come on, man. These motherfuckers want me to. Do you want me to fucking cut your steak for you too tonight when you have dinner, bro? Like, I'm over. You want me to hold your dick when you piss, bro? Google, bro. Google assimilation. Oh, or I got a better idea. This will help me out. Geekdom 101, Namekian Fusion Explained. Oh, look at that. There's a video on it. Like, what does that mean? Like, I'm just saying, bro. I'm obviously teasing you, but what do you want me to do next, bro? You want me to wipe your ass for you, bro? Where's his email? Like, come on. Anyways, Nail is basically saying you're going to get a big increase, which is true. He's not lying. And it's Piccolo's not sure about any of this, but when Piccolo does merge with Nail, he not only does he absorb his power, but he takes a lot of his memory, which is why, again, him forgetting to speak Namekian is hard to swallow. I'm sorry, but it is. We see it here. I love the way that this is drawn, by the way.
He absorbs the last warrior Namekian, who was also like he basically points it out here. Nail says that I am trying to merge with you with the purest of intentions, basically pointing out that, Nail is a way better person. He's essentially what Piccolo would have been if Piccolo mastered the teachings of his race, right? And that's what's really interesting about this is that Piccolo is merging with somebody who has been through all these processes and all these expectations of the Namekians and has fully mastered those lessons and those aspects of their culture. So that, I think people just look at Nail and Piccolo merging as just like a power up, but it's actually way more interesting than that. If you look at who Nail is as a person, contextually, it makes the merger like much more interesting. Very similar to Kami and Piccolo in that sense.
Well, also you nailed it when you said the last warrior Namekian, because now Piccolo has, because the rest of them are dead, become the last warrior Namekian. Now, there were obviously warrior Namekians around, not as strong as Piccolo by any means, but they were, at this point, they're all dead because Frieza and Vegeta and the rest of them had their way with them. When they get resurrected later on in the arc, they come back to life. But at this point, Piccolo's the last Namekian. So, and now this was the part in the dub where he was like, yes, 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 I love it, or whatever, right? That scene that's always memed, right? Where Sabbath is like all happy that he got the power up. See, this sounds like he just busted a nut, bro. Is this what it's like to merge with someone? Yeah, Piccolo, imagine if your dick actually had a set of balls, bro. Then you'd really know what it's like to merge with someone, bro. You know what I'm saying? So now he got the power up, and Nail gets a nice home inside of Piccolo. Pause. And so moving on here, what happened is that Frieza has powered up, but not full power, just the tippy top power of this form, because a few chapters ago, actually it was at this point when the manga came out, it would have been like months, Zarbon already said that Frieza can transform. Like he already said that.
And Vegeta just doesn't understand the depth of that, or how much that's going to absolutely destroy his plans of defeating Frieza.
And Vegeta is already saying that he's become a Super Saiyan.
Yeah, and
already saying it.
I think the mistake that Vegeta is making here, and I don't think this is something that's talked about enough when comparing Vegeta to Goku. When Vegeta initially sees Goku and mistakes him as the Super Saiyan, the reason Goku was capable of everything that he was capable of, that Vegeta was seeing, was not just because he went through strength training. He also has all of that background as a martial artist behind that strength, and that's something that Vegeta is just completely ignoring and overlooking because he did get the upper hand on Goku whenever they fought on Earth. Part of the reason that Goku is or appeared to be the Super Saiyan is because of the control and the discipline he had over his energy and his fighting style. It's not just, getting Zenkai and getting stronger and over and over and over again until you become the Super Saiyan. That's not how it works, right?
Yes, and that's only part of it. And Vegeta does not figure that out until the next arc. Death Knight Dan says if Goku was fully healed now, he would have won against Frieza in his first form. Absolutely. Absolutely. Goku with Kaioken would have defeated first form Frieza, but that's not what's going on. And also Vegeta's kind of a wannabe. And then Frieza himself is laughing, enough of your pathetic lies. I love the art of Frieza actually fighting. Now we're about to get to a part of the manga that's almost all action combat. There's not too much to break down here. We could go blow by blow, but that would make the stream 10 hours long. However, just the fact that Frieza goes for a punch and Vegeta's able to block it and grab his wrist for wrist control, and Frieza's like, what the fuck? That already, I think what Toriyama's telling us is that, okay, I think he's playing around with this idea of, wait, is Vegeta telling the truth?
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely trying to tamper your expectations for sure.
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to tell us, like, well, maybe Frieza's not as strong as we thought he was. But again, we're supposed to remember about the transformation thing that Zarbon foreshadowed. And this part right here, they're basically doing what this is called right here is called a test of strength when you lock hands with somebody. The official name of the move is a Greco-Roman knuckle lock. That's what that's actually called, a Greco-Roman knuckle lock. When you go like this, and the idea is you have to twist downward. It's really a test of physical strength. And Frieza's scouter breaks, like even he's surprised as to how much Vegeta has improved. But again, we're talking about first form Frieza. And the reality is, man, I believe that if Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin worked together, they would have beaten first form Frieza. I really do think that.
Yeah, isn't that initially what Frieza was scared of anyway, was getting teamed up on? So, that makes sense.
Right. Now, again, look what's happening here. Vegeta says, transform yourself, Frieza. If we're going to do this, why don't you just show your true form and get it over with? So he's already goading him into transforming, which is classic, like Vegeta, because, and what I think is kind of, I don't know about stupid or not, is fuck him transforming. Kill his motherfucking ass and get off the planet. But no, I have to challenge the strongest. The typical Vegeta shit, bro, the ego.
Yeah, his pride.
And now this is why I said earlier in the stream when I talked about this arc moves a lot faster in the manga, because in the anime, the Vegeta Frieza test of strength goes on and on and on and on and on, bro. Like, it's longer. It's a whole last episode. And that leads us to chapter 296, Frieza's super transformation. So now Frieza starts smiling and he's happy, and then he's basically saying, when I attacked the Saiyans homeworld of planet Vegeta and fought the king, I was able to do so without needing to transform. And as I recall, your father was helpless against me. He's just talking shit at this point, trying to piss Vegeta off.
Yeah.
I already surpassed the king as a child, which is true. Vegeta was always stronger than his daddy as a kid. And then so I like how he powers up and the armor breaks. And they were like, oh my God, they're all shocked. And Vegeta's like, that's not your transformation, bro. Stop bullshitting. In my dog, stop bullshitting, bro. And then he starts powering up. and they're like, oh my god, his ki is rising. And now I love actually the way this looks in the anime and manga, because there's some misdirects. When you look at this page first, you're like, wait a minute, he's getting pretty buff. And then he's getting buffer and bigger, and then his neck is sticking out. And then there is the final form, or the final, not the final form, but like the final look of the form.
Product of the form, yeah.
Right. All of Frieza's transformations resembles, this is what Toriyama said, they all resemble something that he was afraid of when he was a kid. With the original Frieza form, he's supposed to be like a loan shark. With form 2, it's like a demonic, like demon. Right. Is that your phone, bro?
Yeah.
I heard that for like a second. Form 3, which we're going to get to, is based on Toriyama's favorite movie. And then Form 4 is based on the classic gray alien UFO, which I know a lot of folks in the chat were probably too young, right?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're not going to relate to any of these fears.
But, well, no, that's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is some people in the chat are too young to understand. I didn't even finish my sentence. That when this was being written, when this was coming out in Japan, and I can't speak for Japanese culture, but America, both North America, Canada, and Mexico, especially Mexico, the UFO phenomenon had come back. So there was a time in the 90s where there were a lot of shows. If you were around in the 90s, early 90s,
X-Files, bro. Yeah, I remember.
Not that's part of it, but I mean more so like people were claiming to be abducted, and like there was a lot of that, like unsolved mysteries covered it, sightings. So I think that there's a possibility that Toriyama may have actually been a little bit afraid of being abducted by the gray alien because of how much Frieza looks like that.
Right.
So yeah. All right, we got a few super chats here. Let's hold on.
I would just ignore one of them and move on.
Well, which one, bro?
You'll see which one.
Well, no, I need you to tell me.
The one that's not a dollar donation. The one that's like that weird currency. I would just ignore that one.
All right. Well, okay. We'll go in order then. Xavier says, if Super does come back and ends with Frieza, I think he means Black Frieza. It would be cool if Frieza gathers new soldiers across the universe and the Z fighters got separated and have to fight the new soldiers in different areas. That's very Power Rangers in space, and I actually wouldn't be against that at all. And he is getting new soldiers because the heaters are with him now.
Right.
Is this the currency right here?
No, you can definitely acknowledge that one.
Yeah, he says Gohan was stronger than base form Goku in this arc. For a time, because the thing about this arc is that Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan all get power boosts multiple times in this arc. So when you say in this arc, you're covering a lot of ground. So yes, partially that is true. And then Xavier says, I believe Tien and Yamcha are stronger than Krillin at this point because Nail was impressed with Piccolo's power from training at King Kai. Well, that could be true, but also you have to remember that Krillin had his power unlocked by the Grand Elder. So that might make it a little bit harder to figure out. You talk about the guy asking for my email?
Yes.
Bro, it's not that hard to find my fucking email, dude. Like,
Please
I'm
stop.
like, yeah, like, dude, it's not. I literally made fun of him. Like, dude, just find my email. Never mind. Let's keep going. So this is Frieza's final form here. Well, not final form. I keep saying that. Final version of this form. Ginyu would have become a Z fighter if saw Frieza die. I don't think so.
I think it's hilarious that Frieza considers himself gentle in any way. That's funny.
Yeah, it's trolling, basically. So what do you think about Frieza's second form? Your opinion?
Well, when I first saw it, I was like, wow, yeah, like this is just huge Frieza. To me, it's like, okay, so my first introduction to this transformation, my initial thoughts were, this is actually what Frieza looks like. Like my initial thoughts were he shrunk himself down to make himself weaker. That's what I was thinking, you know. Like he actually
Well,
does
that you're
look
not
like
wrong. There is truth to that.
right, but until I saw his later forms, you know, like I was convinced at this point that he was just shrinking himself down, and this was just him, you know, growing. I really like it. Like it's one of my favorite forms of Frieza.
You
I
know,
really like
what's funny? What's funny about this form is for me, I actually saw the King Cold episodes first before I saw these because I saw the series out of order. So when I saw this form, I was like, that looks a lot like his dad. And that's obviously been the debate. Like, is King Cold when he meets Trunks, is he in his final form that looks like this? Did Frieza create this form to resemble his father? Or is his father only in the second form? And that's been a debate for
it.
ages, dude.
I'll just give my thoughts on it. I think that King Cold and Frieza. Well, I know for a fact that King Cold and Frieza are both mutants. Toriyama said as much.
Right.
And you know, it's almost like when Frieza powers himself down, he's regressing his mutation. That's the way I look at it. I look at it like he's basically backwards evolving. That's how I look at it. That's just my opinion on it. I
No,
look
right.
at it like he's evolving backwards to no longer be the mutant that he was born as in a sense. And in that sense, it would make, because Frieza is a more sophisticated and evolved version of his father, it would make a lot of sense to me that at the most, King Cold might have one transformation, but I do not think that he has a Frieza-esque transformation, because that kind of contradicts the idea that Frieza is more evolved and a more powerful mutant than King Cold. In my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I think I'm going to right now, and I don't disagree with you, but I think what I'm going to do, because you gave me an idea and so did the chat, let me see if I can actually put up a poll and have the people vote on which of the original 4 forms they like the most, because they're like debating in there about
yeah
they're debating about their favorite forms. We have not gotten to the 3rd and 4th form yet, so that's why we're not talking about it yet. But of the OG 4 forms, which design do you like the most? This is the question I'm going to ask. Hold on. And so I want y'all to vote. Form 1, Form 2. Hold on. Form 2, which is the tall one. Hold on. Form 1, little demon. Form 2, tall. Form 3, xenomorph. Hold on. And then Form 4, alien. Again, we're not counting Golden Frieza because it didn't exist back then.
right.
And we're not counting 100% power Frieza, because I do like that a lot. So I just put a poll up right now in the chat. So vote. Which of the original 4 Frieza forms do you like the most?
Believe it or not, when the first form, when his actual form, like his final form, I guess you could say, was initially introduced, I actually wasn't that, like, teenage Jordan wasn't that crazy about it, like, at first. But over the years, like, because it's like Frieza, like it's his look, right? And I like the way that he's drawn in it later, more so later in the series than here, because they kind of fine tune his look as they draw him more and more and more in the series. Hold
on. This is funny to me. I don't think anyone likes Form 3. I love 3rd Form Frieza.
Form 3 is cool.
That's like my favorite one.
I was gonna say, like, young me would probably say that this is my favorite, the second form, but like current me definitely likes the final form. So that's my opinion.
Right. No, and the final form grew on me a lot. King J says IMO. He was in second form, but doesn't have 4 forms. Talk about King Cold, and that's another possibility. That's another one. We never got the answer, but that is another one. So
yeah, like he could transform into the 3rd form. Like, I think it wouldn't contradict anything if he had the 3rd form, but if he has Frieza's like final form, then he's not any different than Frieza at that point.
Have you ever seen the fan art of it? Like
King
Cold in final? Yeah, it's like the same thing, but it's a different color, like frost almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, Frieza destroys the entire island they were on with one quick stroke. And this is where we're supposed to be afraid because Frieza is really, really strong now. Now, the anime version of this fight kind of drags a bit. Now, I like these episodes. I am not saying I don't like them, but there's one episode in the middle that does drag. This scene right here with the horn through the chest, there's actually a pretty big Easter egg with this. Did you know that when this was released, Funimation put out 2 tapes, an edited tape and an uncut tape? The edited tape cuts out a majority of Frieza shaking Krillin with all the blood and actually changes the episode count because of the fact that there's one less episode on that tape. So there are people who at the time had 2 different episode counts for Dragon Ball Z, and guess what? They were both wrong. You know why? Because the Ocean dub cut 67 episodes down to 53, so you still weren't getting the whole series. When Dragon Ball Z's dub, not including the orange bricks, the original Ocean and then Funimation dubs, Dragon Ball Z is 276 episodes. The real show is 291, which again, this goes back to what I say every single week. If you want the kiddie-centered version, have at it, but that's not for me. However, this was the final time that Funimation ever fucked with the episode numbers. The last time right here. And actually, Jordan, I believe that the tape that was edited is actually going for a pretty decent price on eBay. So if people, what's weird is some of those old edited DBZ tapes, there's like a weird market for them now, which is weird because again,
Well, I guess
edited.
as long as they're rare, as long as anything is rare, there's a market for it, right? So I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, no. I'm just letting everybody know the history here. But I do love this fake out here where it looks like Krillin is dead. Everyone's freaking out. Chapter 297, Gohan in a frenzy. Also, when Frieza reveals that he has 1 million, power level 1 million, that's the first time we ever saw 7 figures like on a character or whatever. This is the part where he's fucking with Krillin like shit. And then this is the part right here where in the dub he's like, woo-hoo, ride 'em cowboy. And I was like, fuck, dude, people defend this shit. People fucking defend this shit. Justin says, so Krillin dropped Dende and then got penetrated by Frieza. Kind of feels like an allegory for prison sex. What the fuck are you talking about, bro? I don't know, man. I don't know how that has to do with prison sex. So he tosses Krillin aside. Again, the anime version is much shorter. Gohan, being the brave warrior he is, wants to go in and fight. And then Vegeta's like, are you nuts? And Gohan, this right here to me is the bravest thing that Gohan did up until this point.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge jump from whenever he was being all wimpy against the Saiyans, for sure.
Yes, he now is really, really, and he kicks Frieza in the face, bro. And then he uppercuts him.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that he just got wrecked by Raccoon.
Zenkai.
And well, I think it might partially be Zenkai, but I also think it's
anger.
Yeah, it's like, the thing is like, yeah, there's this habit that the series has of like, and they did this recently with Super, where they'll have Gohan have his potential unlocked to bring him to the limits of his potential, but then they'll use rage to break those limits. So it's like he doesn't really have a limit. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it doesn't matter if somebody unlocks his potential. If he gets angry, he's going to break his limits. So
what you just said, everything that you just said, right, that you just said for this last minute or so is something I wish they would actually say in Super. That way we have it said and we don't have to argue about it anymore. Because Some people are really stubborn when it comes to shit like that.
Yeah.
The reality is, like it or not, and this is the God's honest truth about Dragon Ball. When they said the Saiyans have no limits, the only limits in this show are whatever the writers want to come up with. They will always make these characters stronger. They you know what I mean? Like Goku and Vegeta, as Dragon Ball continues, are gonna keep getting stronger, bro. Like it's just, and Gohan too, and now Piccolo. Like it's always gonna. And is it the way they do it? Is it lazy writing or is it contrived? In some ways, it is. It depends on your perspective, but it's always gonna happen, bro.
Right.
So the idea of us ever going back to let's make Tien and Krillin relevant is done, bro. Krillin at least gets more screen time.
Right.
You know
That's
what
true.
I mean?
Yeah.
So I love Gohan here with the body blows. I actually, again, I want to repeat what I said earlier. I enjoy this part of the arc in the manga more because of the pacing. It's much faster. Gohan, this is
I
like
love the way
4.
Gohan's on right there. Like those.
Me too.
Well, that's the panels above that panel where he's like making that angry face. Yeah, I
Yes.
love that. That reminds me
That's-
a lot of like old school Goku. I love it.
Yes, very much so. Gohan in this arc really does become Kid Goku again in this part of the story.
Yeah.
But I love it because, like I said, it's so much quicker pace, bro. The anime version of Form 2 Frieza was 4 episodes, which is not that much, but it's also not a little bit. Gohan firing a barrage of ki blasts on Frieza. Again, the art is great. And then right here, Vegeta says, incredible. When the kid loses control, he can draw out that much power. Does this mean he's the closest one to becoming a Super Saiyan? This guy's obsessed with it, bro.
Of course he is.
And this
But
is
I do
where
like that they acknowledge that it's because he lost himself to his emotions. I'm glad that they blatantly came out and said that because, like, it's like pretty obvious. But yeah,
Krillin's not dead. We find that out, which is good. Frieza is all right, not even battle damaged. So, kid, it seems there is more to you than meets the eye. I'm not going to lie. To lie to you, that you even hurt me a little bit, but you chose the wrong opponent. You only succeeded in making me angry, which is the typical Dragon Ball line. Okay, let's get to these super chats. We had a few more that came in. Justin says, wait, oh yeah, I had it. So, oh no, we already did that one. No, I'm sorry. Next one is Hugo. He says, do you think Gohan briefly became stronger than Frieza, or did he just catch him off guard? Was he briefly stronger than Vegeta? Well, right there, the panel that's on your screen right now pretty much says that no, he's not stronger than Frieza. He caught him off guard. So it's the second option there.
I think you got super chats.
I do. I'm getting to him. Mr. D-Man says, Geekdom and Arj for all creative rights to future DBZ. You guys are incredible and make a great team. Are you following Ultra Vegito series?
Are you talking about the series where they use guns in Dragon Ball? Get that shit out of here.
All right, I'm just gonna say this.
That shit's an abomination to Dragon Ball.
Thank you for the compliment. I'm telling you now, Arj and I's perspective on Dragon Ball is completely the opposite. If I were hired to write Dragon Ball with Arj, one of us would have to go because and it's not a personal thing. It's not personal. I don't hate the guy, but our viewpoints on Dragon Ball are completely the opposite, dude.
If you like Ultra Vegito, I do question your validity as a fan. I'm sorry. And it's nothing personal against Arj. It's just that's not Dragon Ball. That's somebody like flanderizing and basically,
oh, there's that word again.
That's basically somebody like inserting their ego into Dragon Ball. Like that's not Dragon Ball. So
yeah, I've never read Ultra Vegito. I know Emish like destroys it like every month.
It's horrible.
I've never read it. I've heard bad things, but also I've heard people say they like it. So I don't know, man. I'm just saying I know for a fact that it's not that I don't like the guy, but our perspective on Dragon Ball is just so different. And he's not the only one. Like, he's not the only one. There's a lot of people in the fandom who have a whole different idea of what Dragon Ball is, and it's just difficult to like work with them when it comes to coming
No,
to
in this show, the most powerful characters in the series are using guns. Like, tell me that's not silly, dude. Just
I didn't even know they were using guns, bro. I swear
like
to God,
no,
I had
not
no
not
idea.
just guns, but like earth guns, like bullets, like physical gun. No, bro, get out of here with that, please, please.
This guy said, in your opinion, is Krillin a planet buster? Brother, Krillin is stronger than Piccolo was in the Saiyan Saga in the Namek arc, and Piccolo flicked his wrist to blow up the moon. Yeah. Now this super chat confused me, Jordan. King J says Zalama plotline proves Piccolo's getting stronger. I don't understand. Well, first of all, there is no Zalama plotline. We literally heard the name like once or twice in Dragon Ball and nothing else. I don't know if he's referencing like a fan manga or not, but as of right now, there's absolutely zero connection between Zalama and Piccolo. So I do not know what he's talking about.
Krillin with a gun is fine, but Vegeta with a gun is not. Those are two separate things. Like, I don't have an issue with Krillin using a gun in Dragon Ball Super. He's a cop. That's not what they do in Ultra Vegito. So those are two very
Yeah, I don't know anything. I cannot
but
comment on the gun thing.
but the plot line, the Zalama plot line thing, I think is just a way of saying the Dragon Ball plot line, because people just associate like Zalama with the Dragon Balls because
Sure.
they think
But how does that make Piccolo stronger? I don't think that doesn't correlate.
Oh, he said the existence of a Namek strong enough to make Super Shenron. We don't know for a fact that that's how that works. We don't know.
That's another
Namekian. We don't know any of that.
Thank you.
That's all.
You, King J, you are making a lot of assumptions that are not based in reality. Zalama, it's never been said that Zalama's Namekian. Not once.
Actually, there's actually evidence that he's not a Namekian, because
yes, there is.
Stole shavings from the Dragon Balls from the Super Dragon Balls to make theirs. Then that kind of implies that Zalama's not a Namekian. So
right, not just that, but it's a situation where like yesterday I got a question, and this wasn't from King J, but in the Q&A I did, he's like, Vegeta was able to use Super Saiyan 3 easily and without a power drain. And I'm like, how do you know that? They never once said in the episode, because I went back to rewatch it, that Vegeta overcame the Super Saiyan 3 power drain. I think what happens is, and this is an issue with this is something you and I talk about a lot with separating fan discourse from what's actually in the story. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people have seen Zalama fan art, and he's drawn Namekian because people incorrectly assume he is Namekian. Probably because some guy on Instagram said it, or some fucking cringe YouTuber. And so what happens is they almost in their head trick themselves into thinking that he is Namekian without actually realizing that's never been said. A good example of this is, I saw a video yesterday when Goku found out about the 12 universes in Battle of Gods. He was shocked. No, he wasn't. Go back and watch the fucking movie, bro. At no point did he even react.
He was just excited to fight new enemies. That's all.
He wasn't even that excited. He just kind of smirked a little bit.
Yeah, it was just like wow. Yeah.
It's funny just because it's so people gotta go back and check, and it is what it is. So I saw somebody send a super chat saying, "I'm sorry for being stupid and wasting your precious time with my stupidity." Bro, it's not that hard to find my email, dude. It's literally right there. If you go
Apology
to the
accepted, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know either, but it's like
Dude.
right. It's like right there, bro. Like it's. Anyways, let's keep going, bro. You being unable to find my email when people in the chat were like, "I found it in 5 seconds," is more of a you problem than me. So here's now this art right here with Frieza and his sparkly eyes. This looks like some shit out of Marvel, bro. You know?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
So here,
And well, actually, a lot of the way that this is, I guess you could say, directed reminds me of like Western comics. Like a lot of this arc in particular reminds me of Western comics. Even though it is different, it still reminds me a lot of how it's formatted.
I like what Ukash 1989 said about showing his kid Dragon Ball. Like I like that. I always like hearing stories like that. So Piccolo here claims that Frieza has powered up. Now, is he talking about Form 1 to Form 2? Or is he saying that Form 2 is now really using its power? I think he's talking about Form 1 to Form 2 because one thing that people have to remember is that Frieza does not know how to control his energy the same way that Goku and Vegeta do. That's why he even invented the previous forms. So,
right, that's true.
All right, chapter 298, a worn out Gohan. So we still have a while to go here. So I didn't want to be here too long. We're an hour in. So
Actually, we're getting pretty close. We're moving along. We're making good progress.
And I was wrong because right here, Gohan just says he's making himself even stronger. He can control his power level.
He's controlling his power level through
Anger?
the same method that he uses to regress and transform himself. That's something that a lot of people don't understand about like chi, is that chi has like mutative properties. Like the more chi you have, the more you're simultaneous. Like there's a simultaneous correlation between having a lot of chi and being an advanced life form. So like think about Jiren, for example. They highlighted the fact that Jiren's latent potential surpassed the gods like so much, and that's partially due to the fact that he's like a super evolved alien life form. So there is like a correlation between how much energy you have and how evolved you are as a life form. So Frieza as a life form has way more latent energy. He's just suppressing it because he's de-evolving, I guess you could say.
Jordan, did you know that up until like this past year, people were still sending me questions? Hey, Geekdom, when we talked about a guy who's higher than the gods of destruction, who was he talking about? And I'm like this, bro. I'm like, you just can't.
Yeah, that should have been fixed by now a long time ago, but it's whatever.
Nah, bro. I get a lot of questions that are just like, what the fuck, bro? You know? And like stuff that not only have I gone over a multitude of times, but it's literally in episode 110.
Out, yeah.
It's right there, dude. Okay. King J says Shenron couldn't kill Vegeta because Vegeta was stronger than Kami. If Orange Piccolo makes a dragon, wouldn't it be the second strongest dragon after Super Shenron? Almost all wishes can be granted. You're assuming a lot. First of all, Piccolo can't make Dragon Balls. He said that himself. That's an assumption. Also, it's not about necessarily the power of the guy who makes the Dragon Balls when it comes to physical strength. It's more about magical energy. What happens is the dragon is not strong enough to kill Vegeta and Nappa because, well, it's a plot convenience to a degree, but it makes sense in that Vegeta and Nappa, the wish is not just going to eliminate an enemy that's that powerful. Now, with Daima and the introduction of white and black wishes, that actually might be a better explanation as to why the dragon couldn't do it.
Explanation, for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like if you ask the dragon, make me more powerful, the dragon will do it. Whereas if you ask the dragon, and that's a white wish, Whereas if you ask the dragon, please kill Frieza, he won't. It's a black wish. That I could be wrong about that, but that's the way I always perceived it since Daima started. So I think that makes the most sense. So Gohan gets pimp smacked, right? And then Vegeta actually steps in to fight. This is the part where it becomes a game of cat and mouse, where Frieza's just chasing Vegeta and Gohan and Krillin. They're all like working around him. Vegeta has almost given up. Gohan is still fighting, but now Frieza's taking the fight seriously because now he's not going to get caught off guard. And he knees Gohan right in the gut, and that's enough to just put his ass down because this is no Raccoon. This is a much stronger character. Yeah. And now he's just straight up. Gohan's trying to escape. Frieza's faster than him, hits him with his tail. Like, Gohan just is getting pummeled here, like taking an absolute beating.
Yeah, and Frieza's taking his time because he knows that he can sense that Gohan is a Saiyan, so he's enjoying torturing him, and that's
right.
That's what a lot of this is.
And so here we have Frieza with his head about to crush Gohan's skull. Chapter 299, A Warrior's Revival. And I like how there's that cover page. And Vegeta is just once again, all he's saying is, I'm not going to win. I'm losing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's just, this whole part is so annoying because he's constantly saying the same thing over and over again. We're fucked, this and that. And then we have cutting away to Goku. Now, the anime version cuts away to Goku a lot more, where he's like giving his comments on what he senses. Yeah. But here it's not that often.
Right.
So, okay, excuse me. He's getting beaten up. Here comes a Kienzan disc, and it actually cuts off Frieza's tail. Krillin is okay. So now it really becomes, let's team up on this guy. He doesn't freeze. Now, the reason why this happened is because Frieza does not understand how the fuck this guy is still alive after being impaled. And this, of course, like even Goku doesn't get it. This would, of course, lead to Frieza finding out about Dende having the healing abilities, which is why Dende became a target later on. So Frieza dodges all of Krillin's moves. By the way, if you're wondering why 18 fell in love with Krillin,
that's why. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if he can use it as well as I can, but you'd be surprised. So the whole game here, again, cat and mouse. They're attacking Frieza and they're running away. But he's faster than they are. And Frieza's playing with them because he can kill them at any point. Now, this right here is genius. Taioken, Sun Fist, a.k.a. Solar Flare. I said this a bunch. Why the fuck did they not use this technique in Daima episode 13? To not hurt the animals and get the fuck out of there. It's like they forgot. It's just, I'm not going to get into that. So now is when we find out that Dende can heal. Vegeta finds out first. And this is where he gets the idea to exploit the Zenkai. So this is basically, talk about JRPG. Vegeta and Frieza, like mostly Frieza, he's not going to be able to win this fight unless he goes all out because Dende is continuously going to heal them.
Yeah.
So, and now Frieza's getting over being blind temporarily, and now Gohan wants to once again power up and do what he can. And Vegeta says, must be his Saiyan blood. His power level shot up dramatically after he recovered. Good. It seems that luck is finally in our favor.
Yep. Oh, so he got a rage boot. I love this because this is really expanding. What I love about this is it's really expanding on the mechanics of Gohan's character. It's taking advantage of this fight with Frieza to expand on like how Gohan works. Because not only has he gotten a rage boost that surpassed the original potential that he had unlocked by the Grand Elder, he also just got a Zenkai, and he's even stronger than his initial potential. So Gohan broke his limits twice in this fight. Oh, you're muted, Danny.
Oh,
You're
sorry.
muted.
I was blowing my nose. He says, and Gohan and Vegeta benefit from the healing. That is true. Now, at this point, right before things get more serious, bam, Piccolo appears. And I like this little chapter 300, Piccolo self-confidence. The height difference is funny. But now Piccolo has shown up with Nail. Obviously, Vegeta's like, this fucking guy, the guy who got killed by Nappa, this guy ain't shit. That's basically what he's saying. And Vegeta,
To be honest
Frieza's
with
like,
you,
there's more Namekians.
I'm glad that Piccolo is there to help them, but I do think it's kind of stupid that Piccolo would be so willing to like possibly sacrifice his life after they worked so hard to bring him back to life to make sure that Kami was alive so they could use the other Dragon Balls. That is like I do think that Piccolo sometimes can be very smart, but his pride and his arrogance, very similar to Vegeta, also causes him to do dumb things. Like,
not as many dumb things, but he's got his moments of idiocy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's true. Well, Legendary, I hope you recover from your surgery quickly. But he was saying that he's watching us after surgery. Hopefully he'll recover quickly because surgery can suck depending on what you're getting. He should get breast implants. And then, do you see me complaining about the breasts? That was crusty. But yes, and Piccolo, and you're right. Piccolo, right here at this point, if Frieza really wanted to, he could go into his final form and one-shot Piccolo. And then guess what? The Dragon Balls are fucked. So, and Lance has talked about this too. The Frieza Saga, I think, even though I enjoy it, we're starting to see some of Toriyama's flaws as a writer because he's not perfect. He's a human being. He makes mistakes. Lance pointed out that Goku has 2 hero moments or hero returns in this arc, and it does feel like I know why Toriyama did that, but it does feel repetitive. And I think the issue is that a lot of the things that Toriyama wrote in this arc, I think, drag. You know what I mean?
I think this arc became the staple for like how he would handle future arcs. Maybe more so than the Saiyan arc, although the Saiyan arc is kind of the blueprint for this arc as well. You know, when he showed up to fight Nappa and Vegeta, that was another one of those heroes being reintroduced or reborn, or like, you know, that's another one of those moments. So I do think that at this point in the series, Toriyama is kind of workshopping his habits, like the habits that he's going to implement, and the tropes and the formatting of the show, which it can seem repetitive, but again, in Japanese media, people don't care that much, and I think that's also part of the reason he felt comfortable doing it. If you watch like a lot of like Japanese shows, including Sentai, even movies, Godzilla films and stuff like that, they repeat like a lot of the same tropes over and over and over again. So I think that's part of the reason he felt comfortable doing it, because with this being a serialized product, he was probably thinking of this as like him pioneering his own format of storytelling in some sense.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have said that the Frieza Saga was kind of like Toriyama's peak as a writer, and then it was downhill from there because the Cell Saga has a lot of plot holes, and I kind of see where they're coming from. But I think Toriyama himself was still having fun playing around with time travel and magic. Like, I think he was still having a good time. He may just not have been as sharp. This super chat, let me get to it here. So King J says, when it was mentioned in Daima that Goku was from Earth in 7th universe, Goku was listening. He wasn't shocked about the existence of multiverse. He was screaming in Super after hearing about multiverse. When was he screaming in Super after hearing about multiverse? He
never screamed. He literally just like smiles and then I guess kind of like sighs and then exhales, and it's just like, whoa, this is insane. Like, he never screams. Like that's just
I don't
not.
recall him ever screaming. Like I'm thinking about it now.
He does get excited a bit of the prospect of there being new people for him to fight, because that's the entire reason that Beerus says, "Hey, there's even more incredible people out there in the multiverse. There's like 12 universes." That is more so the point of that interaction than the introduction of the universes. Although, in hindsight, you can treat it as Goku's introduction to the multiverse, but Toriyama and the series as a whole does this thing where they like to take advantage of holes in interpretation-based storytelling. Because I can interpret what happened as, oh, Goku was just excited to hear about different fighters in the multiverse, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a contradiction, despite the fact originally he may have intended for that to be Goku's introduction to the multiverse, because that's how interpretation works. If a writer looks at something and says, hey, this can be interpreted this way rather than this way, I'm going to take advantage of that. There's nothing wrong with that. And Dragon Ball as a whole has done that a lot, actually. But
I'm thinking if maybe he was referencing the Battle of Gods arc that Toei Animation decided to write their bullshit in, and I don't remember him screaming even in that version. So I don't know what version of Dragon Ball you're watching, bro, but like you said, and don't take this the wrong way, I'm not insulting you, but in this stream, you said a lot of things that are incorrect. Not to say that, again, nobody's perfect. I'm not insulting you, but like some of the things you said are like, are you watching a different show? And I want to hold on. He has a follow up where he says, still doesn't make sense that Goku didn't care in Daima.
Why would he care?
Yeah, why would he care?
He literally died, got to keep his body, met the guy who keeps track of everybody's souls, and didn't care. He was just like, oh wow, this is interesting. Like, when has Goku ever cared about revelations like that? He never.
The only reason that Goku even showed a hint of caring is when Beerus said, "Don't you think there are stronger fighters out there?" And
yeah, just like how
me.
the only reason he cared about King Yemma is because he found out he was so strong. Goku doesn't care to learn about like multiversal, the cosmology of his universe.
He doesn't care about lore in his own universe. Yeah,
right.
No, and it's funny because again, I'm not trying to make fun of the guy, but I think you're watching a different show, bro. Like that's not Goku's character at all to care. Like the only reason why he cared is because he was surprised in Super to this info.
He wasn't surprised.
What about 10 minutes ago? He was not surprised. Hold on. Not only was he not surprised, King J, I went back and I fucking watched the scene again and I put it in a recent video of mine. Go watch my Daima breakdown videos, bro. Literally, I show you the clip where at no point Goku, I made fun of it yesterday on the stream. This is the 7th universe. There's more universes. Really, Lord Beerus? There's more? I didn't know that. That scene is not in the fucking movie, homie.
Doesn't exist.
It's that you're making shit up that doesn't exist. Oh, yeah? There's a multiverse? I never knew that. He never says that. Not once does he ever say that.
No, he just kind of grins. See, I think of the manga because I've
it doesn't matter what version. He never, ever is shocked. Ever. I went back and I watched it to make sure.
Right.
Anyways, go back and watch Battle of Gods, bro. I don't know if you're watching some abridged version. Oh, really, Lord Beerus? It's just not. I don't know what you're watching, bro. So let's get back to this. So Piccolo hits a big right hand on Frieza's face. He is very strong. Frieza's now getting his ass kicked. I got to put over the art. The art is phenomenal. I just love the fight. At this point, we're deep into Dragon Ball Z style fighting, which is lots of flying and big blows. And he headbutts Frieza there. Frieza fights back with the tail. Like they're going back and forth. This to me
I
is
think funny about this is low key Nail getting some revenge. That's
what
It is.
It is.
That's what I think's funny about it, because it's like, You know, Nail is like he's a pure-hearted, good warrior Namekian, but you can tell he takes pleasure in like seeing Frieza squirm whenever they fight. So I think it's very interesting that like he kind of uses Piccolo as a means of like getting back at Frieza. I think that's cool.
Surge, it was Monday we talked about it. No, and he is. And there's that scene in the anime where Piccolo smirks. I forgot if it's in the manga. We'll get there. And he's like, oh, it is Nail. Now, I do think that Form 2 Frieza and Piccolo is a fun fight. Not the best fight, but it is fun. There's some good animation there in the anime version. Manga version is definitely better paced. Again, Piccolo, he fires this big ass blast. Piccolo is able to deflect it, which, again, at this point, right now, Piccolo is stronger than Vegeta and stronger than Gohan. That Nail merger, bro, put him over the top. It's kind of like the Kami merger in Dragon Ball Z's Cell Saga. When Piccolo merges with Kami, he is the strongest character up at that point. He's the strongest character.
Right.
Like he's the strongest Z fighter until Vegeta and Trunks leave the Room of Spirit and Time. Then they have surpassed him, and then of course Goku and Gohan. You know.
Yeah.
Again, great art here. He's blasting Frieza. Frieza's frustrated. The endless escalation, chapter 300. Wait a minute, that's wrong. This is chapter 301. Whatever. And at this point, Vegeta's like, what the hell happened? We killed this guy. Why is he so strong? Vegeta's internal monologues are pretty funny.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and then now Frieza has not given up yet. Big elbow, big freaking left hook. They're all shocked. They're like, wait a minute, Frieza's got more gas left in the tank, right? He's coming in, Piccolo's still there. They're going back and forth. It's just a breeze to just read this. Frieza with the double axe again. I think that was an overused move. And then, of course, Frieza's not at full power because this is just Form 2. And Piccolo's now getting banged up.
I like how you get to see the little shoulder pads inside of his cloak there. That's cool.
That's why his cloak sticks out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is what I'm capable of, right? And then Piccolo, now he takes his clothing off. That means he's getting serious. Then I suppose I'll do the same. No more playing around. This is where
this is awesome because this is like one of Goku's like biggest villains, like from the original Dragon Ball, like fighting what's going to be probably his biggest villain ever. So
well, right, and it's also cool because he's doing the Dragon Ball Z trope where he's like, haha, I'm not even using my full power. So
right.
Yeah. Now this is what you were talking about, and people in the chat were bringing it up too. Now I'll show you the wrath of all Namekians that you slaughtered. That he is doing it for his people.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gaining more pride in his species. And that's a very, very important aspect. And I was going to mention this earlier when we were talking about Daima. I think that introducing the Namekians as demons is also going to create this weird connection between Piccolo's original pride as a demon as well as his pride as a Namekian, because it's like combining the two into one thing. Because originally he was the Demon King Piccolo and he had pride in that, and then he found out later that he was a Namekian and he had pride in that, and now he's finding out that the Namekians are from the demon realm, and he'll probably end up gaining a little bit of pride in that too, and that would explain why, and this is something that people have speculated about a lot, it would explain why Piccolo kind of takes pride more so in his identity later on in Dragon Ball Super, because he even talks about, like, in the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament, he's like I'm a demon, I'm not a Namekian. You know, like he blatantly says that. He's like I'm not like from the planet Namek. Like I'm from the demon clan, right? So like I do think that this kind of feeds into Piccolo not only embracing pride in his species, but also embracing pride in who he actually is as a person, which is very, very important, because it kind of seems like he's lost his identity in a way that Goku can't relate to, right? Goku lost his identity after hitting his head. Piccolo lost his identity because he was stranded on Earth. He didn't have any connection to his people.
The child of Katats.
Right. And so, like, I don't know. I think all of that's really interesting, and it's really cool. I think part of the reason that uh, Toriyama loves Piccolo as a character is because of all of these correlations and comparisons to Goku as a character as well. Like, he's very, very well crafted in that sense.
Justin says when Frieza was talking down to Piccolo, he should have stepped towards Frieza, slapped him, and said, "Keep my people's name out your fucking mouth, bro." Don't compare Piccolo to a beta male like Will Smith, bro. Please, that's insulting to fucking Piccolo, who's not even a real person. Jay Fire says this motherfucker straight up referenced Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. Third form is my bro. Also, Frieza's about as tall as Piccolo, maybe a little bit taller. Chris Rock is like 5'6", bro. He's a little man compared to big ass Will Smith. Will Smith's a pussy for that.
Right.
Jay Fire says third form is my favorite. Wish it had more screen time. I do love that third form. We're gonna get to it here in a minute. Hugo then says, "Hope we see more Piccolo Katat's lore with Daima." Well, that's another reason as to why I didn't like this last episode, because I think they're wasting time when they need more. Like they I want them to give us, if they're going to give us lore bites, give us lore bites that matter. People don't really care about the giants. I mean, it's cool that they're there, but it's not that interesting. So okay, now back to this manga. He says that, what you see now is a fraction of my true power. And he's saying transformed. Now, this is a little bit of a plot hole. Little bit. Nail already saw him in his first form. So Nail should already know he transformed. And this is where he's like, were you aware that I already transformed once before you arrived? I shall grant you the same feeling of terror that I gave Vegeta and the others. And he says, transformed? You should have known, bro. You should have known. And then this is where he says, each time I transform, my power increases substantially, and I have 2 more transformations still remaining. Do you know what that means? And this is where he does the 2 right here. What do you think about Frieza giving away that he's got 2 more forms at this point?
Well, I think that he doesn't feel in any danger at all, so he's going to make mistakes like that. And he continuously makes mistakes like that the entire time he's on Namek. Just like how he was wiping out all the Namekians needlessly and then needed one to, like, summon the dragon. He's just too cocky,
But wait, genuine question. Nail memories also got passed on, not just his power?
Well, so when Nail and Piccolo merge, Nail tells Piccolo, well, I'm just the catalyst for this power you're going to get. It's not going to affect your personality. We're not going to become one new entity. But that doesn't mean that, he doesn't have the memories of Nail. And it is suggested quite a few times that he does have a connection to Kami and Nail's memories. So,
yes, because remember, Piccolo recognizes, and look, right here, King J nailed it. You got one right today, bro. Piccolo recognizes Dende with Nail's memories. Not just that, but in the Buu arc, when he sees Supreme Kai, he knows that Supreme Kai is a higher deity because of what Kami learned. So yes, I don't think that when they fuse, so you know how Team 4-Star in their parody, he's like talking to himself in his own head. Yeah. I don't think that's how it actually is, or how Toriyama envisioned it. Yeah, I think the way Namekian fusion seems to work is you inherit like some parts of the brain, but like you said a minute ago, your personality does not change.
Right.
Or if it does, it's very subtle.
If it does, it's because of the memories and not because the other person is like dictating what you're thinking, right? It's because of the fact that you have those person's experience, you have that person's experiences, which would affect your perception. So.
Yeah, it's part of like, there you go. Air Dog 711, Dende should have healed Goku while Frieza was busy. Goku was already being healed in the rejuvenation tank. If you think that Dende's healing was faster, I think you're right, probably. But remember, if Dende tries to leave, Frieza will just block it. You know, they're going to have to really distract him because remember, Krillin tries to leave, right? And he Frieza stops him. So it happens.
Yeah.
All right. So now is when Frieza's about to transform. Also, I do want to add one last thing. There's an extra scene in the anime, not the manga, where Frieza's grabbing Piccolo and Piccolo's like, "You don't remember me?" And then he sees Nail. And so that's when Frieza realizes that Nail and Piccolo have fused. That is not in the manga, but if you're going to count it, that scene once again shows that Nail is in there, you know.
Yeah.
Frieza's second transformation, chapter 302. So I love this form. I agree it didn't get enough screen time or panel time or whatever. His fucking shoulder pads pop out. The big shoulder look is in. His nose goes into it becomes like a snout. I like this form a lot. His head starts to go back, and you know, there you go. Now, obviously, I made a whole video about this. It's really no secret, but we should probably talk about it. Toriyama said in an interview that his favorite movie of all time is Ridley Scott's 1979 Alien. And if you've seen Alien, you know that this is what the xenomorph looks like. Toriyama borrowed that design with the long ass head, and just the shoulder look is literally where he got I mean, it's pretty. I picked up on this immediately when I was a kid.
Yeah, me
I
too.
just knew. Yeah, but I think people who are Dragon Ball fans, a lot of like younger ones, like younger than you and I think a lot of them don't watch a ton of movies. Like I've noticed anime fans just watch anime, and I've never been that kind of guy. I love movies and I love other kinds of TV shows, so they just don't get these references. But I think when I tell them about it, a lot of them do appreciate it. If you haven't seen Alien, I would recommend seeing Alien.
Those movies were made with a different kind of attention span in mind, you know.
Okay, he says thought it was inspired by Terminator 2 movie, which came out at the time. Terminator 2 didn't come out until a year and a half after this manga chapter was published.
And Terminator 2 is what influenced the Android saga, not this saga.
Yeah, you're off by an entire arc, bro. Terminator did not come out yet, and Terminator did not influence this arc. 2. 1 did come out. 1 came out in 1984, but Terminator 2 was the inspiration for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually Clips de los Majes says, I watched Dragon Ball as a kid. I haven't watched Alien, but I knew the Xenomorph because it's iconic. And it is iconic. I mean, when I was a kid, before I ever saw Alien and Aliens, I saw the toys. Do you remember the fucking cool, like, toys they had of, like, the scorpion alien, the spider alien? Those were badass toys, bro.
Yeah, yeah, and they really took advantage of, like, the alien's ability to, like, merge with different life forms and stuff whenever they were doing
I thought it was super creative, dude. Like, I really did. I love Alien. Even though Alien, we watched Aliens in the Discord, what, like 6 months ago?
Yeah, something like that.
And I had a good time. So what influenced Boo? Aladdin?
Partially.
Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo.
Arabian Nights partially influenced Boo, but
the whole series, because there's a lot of Arabian Nights in the Pilaf arc.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, there's some Arabian Nights in Daima as well.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you can literally see, like, you know, Goma's like the full king, you know. So yeah, it's very clear.
I agree with what he said. There were some awesome alien toys that I wanted to see in the movies. I agree with that. There was a lot of cool shit. Also, the Alien comics got really creative with some of the variants. Way better in the movie. So now Frieza has his third form, and Goku senses it. And now it's a problem because the thing about Frieza's third form is that it's not so much about the power boost. It's about the speed boost. He is much faster now than he was before, and gives Piccolo, and look right here, damn it, you may have the power, but I have the speed. You'll never catch up with me. And then boom, did you miss me?
Say,
Like
well,
Freeze.
did you miss me? Yeah.
Yeah, I like this form a lot, dude. I when Frost busted out this form in Super, I was actually happy they brought it back.
Yeah.
What alien reference is Frieza's final form based off of? I mentioned this earlier already. Go to Google and type in gray aliens. The gray aliens, the ones that people have been allegedly abducted by and anally probed. You know?
Yeah.
So this guy, this is actually kind of funny. He says Daima will be 8 episodes instead of 20 if we remove the spaceship damaging plot lines. That's actually a funny thing you said, but I hope you realize that I mentioned this yesterday. The reason why the ship is getting constantly constantly damaged is because Glorio's doing it on purpose to stall for time.
Yeah.
People are pointing that out as being bad, but it's like, no, have you been abducted, Danny? Yes, your mom did, bro, and fucking it was good. No, I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you. Okay, so here comes Frieza. Now, again, besides the speed, he also has these double fingers. Speaking of,
Yeah,
your
this is the
mom,
most iconic scene associated with this form, at least to me. Like
speaking of
anytime
your
I think of
mom,
this form, I think of this. Yeah.
yeah, and so this is meant to sort of be like a Dodonpa, where he's just blasting his opponent in different pressure points to hurt him. And right here, what I love about this is, and Toriyama's art, Frieza is literally just barraging him with these pinpoint ki blasts. It's not like Gohan or Vegeta's Renzoku Shine technique. It's more like attacking the pressure points. You can tell right here. And if you don't know about pressure points, watch more kung fu movies, dude. Like me and Jordan, I think you and I are the only ones who have been screaming at people. And maybe Derek Padula, watch more kung fu movies. You'll understand
That's
Dragon
where all
Ball
this
more.
comes from. Yeah.
It's all from there, bro. Toriyama grew up with these motherfuckers, bro. Toriyama, the one thing I love about Toriyama is that he liked to watch a lot of movies. He liked World War II movies. He liked Aliens. He liked Star Wars.
Wanted to be a movie director. That's what he actually wanted. And just, he only got the opportunity to do that towards the very latter end of his career.
But when you think about it, though, it kind of makes sense because when you write your own manga, you kind of are a movie director because the paneling is kind of like setting up a shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he kind of got what he wanted. Yeah. So this is where Vegeta comes up with the bright idea of having Krillin blast him so that he can be healed by Dende to exploit the Zenkai. He asked if the Matrix trilogy counts as a kung fu film. Yeah.
I think the Matrix trilogy was definitely influenced by kung fu films, for sure.
Yeah, it's an anime. Yeah, the Matrix movies actually were influenced a lot by Dragon Ball. So, but I would count them as kung fu films because when you see fights like Neo versus Seraph and they're using the wire fu, that's straight up fucking like Shaw Brothers. Like the Wachowskis are very big on Eastern philosophy, which is why they made what do you call it? Speed Racer. Remember Speed Racer?
Yeah.
Not a very good film. So okay, he's over here, and then here comes Gohan to save the day. Now you're going to die. Gohan uses everything he can to blast Frieza, right? And this is
extremely impressive. Yeah, this is very impressive for Gohan. For sure.
And it's like, where the fuck did he get that from? Yeah. Like he busted, and I love the art, bro. The art, even though Toriyama's storytelling takes a little bit of a dip in this part of the story, the art stays great. But Frieza's getting fucked up, and then Piccolo's helping, so it's Gohan and Piccolo. This is strange. That little one shouldn't have that kind of power. After being so close to death, it's as if he's somehow different again. Yeah, bro. Didn't you know that Saiyans can do that? Of course, he's a Saiyan. Yeah. He didn't even. He thought Gohan was just some kid. Yeah. But whose child could he be? 30 years ago, all of the Saiyans except for Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz were wiped out. Well, not according to modern Toriyama. So now he's already wondering who the fuck the father is, which, you'll find out very soon. Next volume, we'll get there. And then he doesn't take after Vegeta or Nappa, so he is Raditz's son. Something about him seems familiar. I cannot allow even a single Saiyan to survive. I must eliminate every last drop of Saiyan blood. I do not believe in the ridiculous Super Saiyan legend, but I always choose to err on the side of caution. Vegeta and his little one are growing stronger right before my eyes. This I love, and I'm going to say this again. I do not like that Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods added the whole Beerus gave Frieza permission. I've never liked that because I think it makes more sense that Frieza was paranoid, not just of the Super Saiyan legend, but of the Saiyans growing in strength and overthrowing him. That was the original thing.
Well, Frieza giving him permission is not the reason that he did it, though. He just
You mean Beerus?
Well, yeah, I mean Beerus. Beerus
Yeah.
giving him permission is not the reason he did it. He just asked permission, which I mean,
No,
it is. It does.
I don't like it.
It does convolute it, but it's still it doesn't necessarily contradict the idea any of this really, because he still could have came to that conclusion and been like, well, if I don't ask Beerus, maybe I'll get in trouble. So it's like, you know,
this is true, and yes, you're absolutely right. However, I still don't like it because I always like the idea. The reason why I love Frieza's character, why he's my favorite character in the series, is because he pretends to be confident. He pretends to have his shit together, but he's very paranoid of losing his power. And it sort of reminds me of what Palpatine said in Revenge of the Sith, where he was like, not Revenge of the Sith, Matrix. We were talking about that a minute ago when the Oracle says, what do all men with power want? More power, and they fear losing it. I love that. I love that Frieza, like, and I know people try to justify it, and some in the chat are. Listen, you're not going to change my mind on this, dude. I've thought about it a lot. Beerus, I don't think makes it a better story. I think they could have left that out. It's unnecessary. I love the fact that Frieza literally wiped them out, saying, I got them before they got me. It just makes more sense, and it makes the character more interesting. Frieza saying, hey, Lord Beerus, can I destroy these people? Sure you can. What the fuck? I thought he was Frieza, the emperor of the universe. Why does he have to ask for permission? Why is that he can go around killing anybody he wants, but now he has to ask permission? It's fucking stupid, okay? Stop defending it. I'm sorry. It's fucking dumb.
Yeah, it's not like he asked permission for any of the other species.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's fucking dumb, but people defend it.
Yeah, I mean, even I defend it, but I'll defend your position as well. You know what I mean? Like, with me, I understand both sides. Like, I do understand that it is useless in the sense that Frieza's been wiping out people forever. Who cares what Beerus thinks? Like, Frieza just does that anyway. You know what I mean? But I think the reason
is to give Beerus more heat. That's why.
Well, not just that, but I think what Toriyama's intentions were, and of course, this is just my opinion. I think he just wanted to make it clear that Frieza looked down on the Saiyans too. I think that's more so what his intentions were, was to be like, you know, because if Beerus did like say, no, I don't want you to kill the Saiyans, that would mean that he respected them as a species. But Beerus does say when he first shows up and fights the Saiyans, he's like, I never liked you guys. Like, you guys were always trash to me, you know, so.
Right. And again, it's supposed to build up some subtle heat between Beerus and Vegeta, but it doesn't matter. Again, it's stupid for him to ask permission. It's stupid. Like, I just annoys me because people try to justify it so much.
Yeah.
Think about this from a character perspective. What makes more sense? Let's think about this from a storytelling perspective. If your villain destroys the heritage and the family of some of your main characters because he's afraid of being overthrown and losing his power, or if he goes and asks permission to a fucking cat god to fucking see if it, like, it's so fucking stupid. It's fucking dumb. It takes away from Frieza's character. This is not even up for debate. You can like it all you want to. It takes away from Frieza's character. If you don't fucking believe me, go read some books on storytelling, bro. It takes away from his character.
No, it objectively does make Frieza seem lesser than. That's like not even up for debate, for sure.
Yeah. And again, I'm not even saying it bothers me that much, but it's like I've always hated it. So at this point, Vegeta wants Krillin to blast him so that he can come back stronger. He thinks he's the only chance. And now Frieza's basically saying, yeah, I won this fight. And now he's going to...
I just want to acknowledge what this guy says, because he said it's almost as bad as the parody account. He said it's almost as bad as making Bardock a softer character. They did that from the beginning of Bardock's introduction. He was made a softer character in the movie that he was introduced in. Like, he's literally like the softest thing in the movie.
Wait a minute. Did you say movie? Wait, movie? What movie?
Okay, special.
Come on, bro. Don't be doing that shit on. Don't be doing that shit on this channel, bro.
I mean, it's still objectively a movie, but yes, the special.
Yeah, Julie. No, it's not a movie, bro. It is not a movie. The Bardock special is a 1 hour TV episode. It's shot in 4:3 aspect ratio, and it has commercial breaks. If you find me a single Dragon Ball theatrical movie that had commercial breaks built into it, bro, I'll give you $1,000 right now. It's not a movie.
You're right. Yeah. Whenever I watched it, it was cut into a movie. It was cut in, well, the special, you know. So, by
the way, Julian, I want you to know, because he says, you know, I know, and that's wrong, and it fuck with it's a lie. It's like no different than everything else the dub does. When he's saying that my blood pressure was up, I do always come on here and over exaggerate. I really don't give a fuck that much, bro.
Yeah.
Like I do like coming on here and like being over the top, because I've always liked over the top shit like wrestling and Dragon Ball.
My point, though. My point was that in the original Bardock special,
Bardock, there you go.
Soft. Like he softened up in that movie. Like, so this, like,
I think what he means is he was softened up even more in Minus. That's what I think he's talking about.
I guess so, but even in Dragon Ball Z, he ends up wrapping the bloody cloth of one of his comrades.
I love that scene.
I mean? So, like, he was a caring person. Like, this idea that Bardock wasn't caring is just ridiculous. Like, it's just stupid. But anyway,
he cared a lot more. Yeah. Now I like this super chat. Blame Funimation for making the Bardock special look like the movie, bro. What do you think I've been doing for the last 30 years of my life, bro? If you join me on any of my Twitch streams on Saturday, there's usually a segment called Fuck Funimation, especially now that we're in Z.
How I experienced the Bardock special. I experienced it in a movie format whenever I was younger. So
no, and I'm not even saying that like I'm not saying that I understand that. And I don't care that much, but like the issue with it being a movie is that it actually not only, I talked about this last night actually in the Discord, not only is it not a movie because it's not shot in 16:9 aspect ratio and it wasn't in the theater, I mean it's because if you look at the serial number, now we're going to get really granular. The Bardock special literally is a 1 hour TV episode because it has the serial numbers that go with the TV series, not the ones that go with the movies. And that's really like a deep cut, but that's all it is. But you're right. Funimation cut it up and took out the eye catches and they released it as a feature because they didn't know what the fuck they were doing because Barry Watson is a fucking moron. And that's why so many Dragon Ball fans don't understand the series, why they don't like Daima, why they don't understand Toriyama, because the Funimation version of Dragon Ball Z is not the real version. This is not up for debate. I don't give a fuck about your nostalgia. I don't care how much you want to suck Bruce Faulconer's dick and lick his ass. I don't care how much you want Sean Shambo to fuck you in the ass. I don't care. Objectively, They change so much in Dragon Ball Z that it's a different fucking story. And if you prefer the fucking dub that treats you like a fucking idiot, that thinks that American children are morons, quoted from the CEO of Funimation, Gen Fukunaga, in Animerica magazine in 1996. We have to change Dragon Ball to make it more American so that American kids can understand it better. AKA, Japanese kids are smarter. Y'all are a bunch of dumbasses. If you don't get offended by that, bro, if you don't sit there and be like, damn, I'm an idiot for you think I'm an idiot? Fuck you. That's on you. But I'd rather watch the real shit. And I'm sorry for ranting about it, bro, but I do have, like, being in this fandom for 10 years and seeing people constantly defend that fucking dub, bro. Like, fuck, bro. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's this, that you're anyways, let's get back. Fuck, let's finish up the fucking stream, bro. We got all right. So now Frieza's, I apologize, all right. I'm so tired of this fucking defending the. Now, I love this. This is Toriyama literally telling the reader, I'm going to subvert your expectations. Krillin thinks that Frieza's final form is just a more armored, souped up version of this form.
More demonic.
And it's not. Yeah. Way scarier. Yeah. And of course it's not. This is the part where, of course, that leads to Krillin saying, fuck it, blasting Vegeta through the chest. And down he goes. And of course, this is all being done on purpose so that Vegeta can get his Zenkai boost to put him on equal ground. Now, let me ask you a question, bro. This is more of an anime question because it happens in the anime, not the manga. How do you feel about how the anime made Frieza transformations to his last form cracking and then he cracks? How do you feel about that? Because that was a different choice.
I think it's an interesting choice. I actually kind of prefer the idea that he does what he does in the manga. But, it's a cool visual.
Yeah, no, I was just curious how you felt about it.
It's a cool visual.
Yeah. No, I like it too because it's very, like, weird.
Yeah.
So at this point, Piccolo's injured, Vegeta's injured. They have to hurry up while Frieza's transforming to hurry up and, like, get this fucking shit on the going to heal up Vegeta. At this point, it's like Krillin and Gohan are like, we should, like, fuck this guy. Let's get the fuck out of here. But they know that's a bad idea because when Frieza hits his final form, they're going to be in trouble no matter what.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. And Frieza here is, like, continuing. This is the first transformation that's actually, like, really long in Dragon Ball. Like, this goes on for a while, several pages. Think about that. Yeah. Terron says, your channel helped me learn that Goku was not Japanese Superman with a strong sense of justice. Well, it's a different kind of justice. Goku cares for life, but not in the DC Marvel sets. Yeah, bro, Goku is not Captain America. So
yeah, and a lot of the, don't get me wrong, the comparisons between Superman and Goku are justified because, especially after Minus, because it is very, very similar. But they're also very, very, but it's also very, very different. Like, for example, and this is something that a lot of people don't consider, and I'm not one of these people that hates on Minus, so that's part of the reason that I've thought about it this way. But, like, when Superman is sent off planet to have his life spared, the Kryptons were not bad people. They were not bad people. They did not have bad intentions, and there wasn't really that much danger in sending Superman to Earth. Whereas when Bardock sent Goku to Earth, he did not care if Goku wiped out Earth. People always make Bardock out to be like this, like he does care about his own kind, and he does, like, care about things that he associates with his own kind and his child and his wife, like we saw in the Granola arc. But he didn't care if Goku turned into a great ape and wiped out the entire planet. Like, he didn't care. He just wanted his son to survive. So there is a lot of differences between the two stories that a lot of people kind of overlook in that sense. It's almost like the opposite of Superman in that sense, if you think about it that way, because sending Goku off is portrayed like a selfless thing, but it's actually kind of a selfish thing because Goku would have dominated that planet, you know.
I'm going to say one more thing about this because I want to answer this guy's question. In Mexico, Dragon Ball Z sounds like more of a kid story. In the USA, dub characters sound like they have more hate toward each other. Okay, I'm going to destroy what you just said. First, because I've seen it in Spanish, Japanese, and English. In the English dub of Dragon Ball Z, when Goku confronts Frieza, Frieza says, "Your shoes are untied." And Goku goes, "I'm not going to fall for that. I don't even have any laces." If you're telling me that you think that that's more mature and more adult than the Mexican or Japanese dub, homie, I think you need a fucking lobotomy, dog. I think when you say shit like Mondo cool, Krillin's in the house, if you're telling me that the fucking English dub that censors everything is more fucking serious and adult than the fucking Mexican and Japanese dub, damn, bro. There's something wrong upstairs. No offense, of course. That doesn't make any sense. After Krillin cut it off, Frieza getting his tail grown back in the final form might be the reason anime made him crack open instead of shrinking down.
Maybe.
That's true. That's true. I mean, that it could be. It could be. I'm not going to say yes or no. It could be. I like the cracking, though. So this part, okay, I like this part because Dende's like, fuck Vegeta. I don't want to heal him. He fucking killed a bunch of Namekians. I get it. That character motivation makes sense, right? But
Yeah,
they're
he's
like, if you
this guy. Nope.
yeah, fuck this guy.
Nope.
But if you don't heal this dude, bro, we're all dead. Because Piccolo's thing is, we're going to have to use all of our might to beat him. And it still wouldn't be enough.
Right.
And then there's an explosion, and they're like, what the fuck? And then even Gohan's like, please, Dende, like, we need you to do this. And he's feeling like shit, but he does it here. And I love how we see the explosion of the transformation, and then we see this right here. One of the questions I would have loved to have asked Toriyama is what he thought about the cracking, because he obviously made this transformation very epic and very slow and very like, what's the word I'm looking for, bro? Methodical, I guess. Yeah, sure. I wonder how he would have done it if he was directing the anime.
Probably exactly like he did in the manga, to be honest. He probably even would have drug it out even more. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. So now Vegeta, being the super nice guy that he is, once Dende heals him, Vegeta kicked him away.
Yep. What a jerk.
Kai dub is also censored for kiddies, but okay. Wrong. The TV Toonzai version of the Kai dub is, not the home video version. This has been proven. You can't argue it. It's a fact. Air Dog says, really brings out Vegeta's as lesser of two evils. Yeah, I know, but he's a dick. He's a dick, bro. I mean, be grateful I let you live. I sense Frieza's power level, so then you finally shown your true self, haven't you? Bringing on Frieza and all the comers, for I have just become a Super Saiyan. Uh-oh. There's our first look at Frieza's final form. That's the gray alien look. Moving on here. They're all like kind of fucked up. And then in the anime and the manga, he's like, bang. The first thing he does is fucking, who's he gonna hit? He fucking nuked Dende, bro. Now your healer is fucked.
Yep.
Now, and look, he says it. Now none of you can be revived. Hey, he found my email, bro. It took you 2 hours. Congratulations. Happy for you, bro. I'll check it out after the stream. Chapter 305, Frieza or Vegeta. This is, I think, the last chapter. No, there's 2 chapters. No, I think this is the last chapter of this volume. Chapter. Yeah. So here, it's basically Dende's dead. Frieza took out their healer.
Can you imagine healing some asshole and having him kick you only for you to be lasered out of existence like a few seconds later. That would suck so bad, bro.
I feel bad for Dende, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this right here, it makes sense. This is what happens when the white mage goes down.
Very accurate. Very accurate.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Frieza's not an idiot. He took him down. No more healing. No more games. So they all try to attack Frieza. I actually really like the manga version of this more than the anime. I feel like the anime version of this scene where the three of them go after Frieza, go back and watch it again. It's very plastic. It just doesn't look good. And I'm not going to get into specifics here. I'll hold off until we do the Twitch episodes. But the reason for that is because the anime staff during the Frieza saga was really, really overworked and and so that's why Dragon Ball Z movie 4, which is the Lord Slug movie, has 3 animation supervisors. Most movies have 1, maybe 2. That one has 3, which means that they really were like, the staff was very short staffed. But I just don't like, there's parts of the Frieza saga I look like shit for that reason. He's dodging everybody, as you can see. Again, I like this version a lot more. It just looks a lot cooler. He's dodging everyone. Everything you just said, Benjamin, is correct.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing you said that's wrong there. Like, everything you said is literally correct. So go watch my transformation guide about Frieza's forms for more information on that. So the idea here is they're using all their speed. Now they're using ki blasts. Dude, if I were in charge of Dragon Ball, I would have animated this so much different than they did when they did the Z. Like, this is one of those, yeah, dude, because it looks so much better in the manga. Like, I feel like if they ever do remake the entire series, this is a part that I want them to do more like the manga.
Yeah.
Vegeta sees Frieza. Frieza goes for a blast, and then Vegeta actually saves Gohan by
Which is a cool callback to when Gohan saved Vegeta too, if you remember.
Yes, it is the lesser of two evils. So he kicks him away, and they're like, I couldn't see the attack, but Vegeta could. So the idea here is maybe Vegeta might have a chance.
Maybe.
But unfortunately, Toriyama's going to use him as the new Yamcha to tell everybody, hey, he doesn't have a chance. But we'll get there. Yeah. And then here is where Vegeta gets overconfident and faces a Super Saiyan. Kakarot will not get a shot at you. He basically thinks he's going to win this fight, goes for an attack. Frieza moves. So I make one little move at full speed, and all of a sudden your head is spinning. You call yourself a Super Saiyan. So Frieza, this whole fight, bro,
insulting the hell out of him.
Dude, the disrespect. You know what I mean? That's the end. That is the end, bro. We did hit the end. So the cliffhanger for this volume is Vegeta thinks he's a Super Saiyan. He thinks he can beat Frieza, but Frieza's like, dude, you're still fucking slow. You ain't shit, is what he basically says.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for the next chapter. Of course, why wouldn't I be? I even have
Goku.
I have this saved for it.
I can't tell what that is. What is that?
That!
I drank one of those before.
I'm going to pop that open whenever Goku uses the Spirit Bomb just for fun.
I drank one of those before, yeah. This guy right here. Anyone else who only saw the runs in English in the 90s think Frieza was a girl or just me? At least until he transformed and got the handsome man voice. Here's the problem with that. If you watch even the Ocean dub or the Funimation dub, he's constantly called he and him. So if you think he is a woman after being called he and him, so if Frieza was on Twitter, he would say he, him.
Right.
Anyways. All right. So yeah, volume 25 is done. Volume 26, Goku arrives on the battlefield, and we're going to start the Goku versus Frieza fight, which, again, just like this volume, I think it's better in the manga, except for a couple of things here and there.
Yeah.
I was 8, brother. My friend showed Dragon Ball to his fucking 6-year-old son. He understands the series more than some of the questions I get. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are, bro. Don't worry about it. Like, yeah. And then this guy says, I was 8 too, bro, and I knew he was a guy. Yeah. I'm not even making fun of you. It's just context clues, brother. Context clues. Yeah. I'm sorry, Jordan. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say it was good hanging out with you guys, and we'll see you in the next stream.
Yeah, we'll see you guys with volume 26. It should be next week, the 21st, but I mean, we'll see. This guy, bro, respect my pronouns. So, yeah, he is a he, him. But again, it's just like how when they revealed the Glins have no gender, it's weird because why would a Rinsu have big titties if the purpose of women having titties is to feed babies? Why would a character that doesn't have any babies have titties?
And probably the biggest we've ever seen in the series, too. All right. We'll catch you guys later.
Right. Yeah, we're out of here, man. Y'all have a good one. Take care of yourself, and I will see you for Daima this coming week.
All right.
Bye.